Hey there guys, how's it going? So the Kingdom Hearts Dark Road Twitter has been on an absolute tear for the last few hours and has revealed a ton of new information and finally revealed those 4 mystery characters we've been thinking about for a few months now. So let's dive into it. So first of all, they said, we've kept you waiting, but from now on until release we'll have back-to-back reveals, so stay tuned. We'll begin by first introducing the characters who take part in the story. They really quickly go ahead and reintroduce Xehanort in the new Kingdom Hearts Union Cross sprite, as well as his Kingdom Hearts 3 render. Same thing for Ericus, the Kingdom Hearts Dark Road / Union Cross sprite and the Kingdom Hearts 3 render, before revealing a quick shot of a cutscene, which again, if anyone needed any more convincing, the cutscenes look exactly the same as the Union Cross cutscenes. Obviously, it's still on the same engine and everything like that. And then the real meat of the update, they've gone ahead and said, Ericus wasn't the only friend on Xehanort's journey. Follow this account and tweet with the particular, their Twitter username and this hashtag, and we'll reply to reveal those other companions to you. So, I guess one of the weirdest reveals I've ever seen. People would tweet at them, and they would receive a tweet back saying either one of the 4 new characters in the game. So, I've collected them here for you, all the replies. So there is, and I'm going to butcher all these names, so I apologize in advance, but here's Erd, I don't know. Hermod, I'm not quite sure. Hermod, maybe. Bray guy. Again, I'm really sorry in advance to the people I'm offending. It's not really going to be anyone, but I'm saying it wrong. I already know that for a fact. And lastly, Vor. So 4 new characters. 1, 2, 3, 4 new characters. I've gone ahead and revealed them all, like splattered them all into one image for you guys there. But yeah. In addition to Ericus and Xehanort, we have our main cast, presumably, of Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, which is pretty exciting. This is the first real breath of fresh air the series has seen in a little while now, so potentially 4 new characters that, in theory, don't have anything to do with any characters we've seen before, though people are already speculating, myself included, that potentially there are links to other characters there. First of all, there are real similarities to the foretellers, like the young little lady here, Vor. Her color scheme and even her outfit reminds me a lot of Master Ava. Big fella at the back there, Hermod. Obviously looks a little bit like, to me a bit like Erica, sorry. To me a little bit like Ira. He's got hair slightly reminiscent of like potentially Ephema, if he was to grow up a little bit more, get a bit older and a bit more darkness in the hairstyle there. I get like a slight envy vibes of this lady over here. Obviously it's a female character in Kingdom Hearts, which is pretty rare, so we've got 2 of them. Would you believe? 2 new female characters in Union Cross. Outstanding. In Kingdom Hearts. And this fella over here with the blue fur-lined jacket with his hands tucked into these side pockets really reminds me of a certain funny, humorous skeleton, but I also get like Reno or Axel vibes of him as well. But yeah, potentially entirely new characters to the series. So, well, again, people are already speculating what these characters' roles might be, but if in the time that it takes Xehanort to grow up into an old man, could be the same amount of time it takes for this young little lady here to grow into potentially someone's grandmother, potentially, that we have seen in the series already. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, seeing as these characters, we've obviously seen, the older version of Ericus, the older version of Xehanort, but as far as we know, we haven't seen what happens to these guys, so does something bad happen to them that, again, begins to lead Xehanort down that dark path? Is he the one that causes it? Does he become betrayed by these guys? Who knows? So lots to speculate about already, but yeah, new characters is always a breath of fresh air. The really cool part about them, though, is that their names have some hidden meaning to them, or maybe not hidden, but some deeper meaning to them. So all 4 of them are actually basically reminiscent of the names of gods of Norse mythology. So let's start with the start here. I'm going to butcher this. I'm assuming this character here resembles a D sound, but I don't know. So Hermod. So we got Hermod, Vor, Bragai, and I think Erd, something like that. Basically, yeah, 4 different Norse gods. So and again, obviously, the translation from Old Norse to modern day English is pretty rough, but Wikipedia's doing its best, so thank you, Wikipedia. But we have the Old Norse for War Spirit, I guess. Again, I'm literally just reading directly here. But notably, he's the son of Odin and the brother of Balder. Again, I'm just going to admit flat out that my knowledge of Norse mythology is pretty well limited to, I guess, cartoons that I've seen that borrow the names of these characters, or like the latest God of War game, I guess, was in Norse mythology, and I guess like the Marvel movies, I suppose, take place with a bit of that. Anyway, Vor, Norse for the careful one, or like aware, careful, like a sort of cautious vibe that I get from that name. A goddess associated with wisdom, which is pretty interesting. Bragi, which is a poetry, yeah, so the skaldic god of poetry, which is pretty cool. And finally, I left her till last because Urd is actually one of 3 called Norns. Norns. These Norns are a trio. So there's Urd, Verdandi, and Skald. So a lot of people picked up on the name Skald a long time ago as having Norse mythology names to Norse mythology heritage to it, and it seems of the trio that the name Skald comes from, we actually have a second character from that trio now. So now we have, well, the first glimpse at where is she? Would be the 4th one, wouldn't it? Urd being the second of the Norn trio. So it's going to be really interesting what legacy and what link she has to Skald, because I mean, if Nomura loves anything, he loves his trios. He loves his trios, so I find it pretty hard to believe that this character in particular, if not all 4 of them, won't have some interaction with Skald at some point. Again, as far as we know, Skald is probably going to be the Subject X that has been flung forward into the future from Union Cross times into the modern day. But the last we know of Subject X, she was kidnapped by a man with an eye patch on. And we know nothing else about her kidnapper or potentially rescuer. We know nothing else about her apart from the fact that she was sent forward to Radiant Garden with no memories of where she came from, except for the fact that she knew about 4 friends and a key, which until this point we've always assumed are pretty safely, you know, a combination of like Ephema, Ven, Lorium, and potentially the player, potentially Brain, and the key probably being, you know, her Keyblade or whatever. But it's possible now that she has links to other characters. We really don't know for sure. So has the kidnapper, has the rescuer gone and taken her to bring her to be with these characters potentially? I guess we really don't know. It's just what I'm saying, but it's already fun to speculate. Again, we've all we've seen so far is a little image just like this, and already like I guess that's kind of the fun of Kingdom Hearts for me, is that you can really get your mind racing on stuff like this pretty quickly. But yeah, I'm already really keen to hear your thoughts about this. But yes, we have now, obviously the foretellers shared these Latin names for the 7 deadly sins, you know, Ava being avarice and Era being rage and all that sort of thing. So now we have, yeah, Norse mythology in the Kingdom Hearts series as well. I'm pretty keen to see what happens. Again, are these characters all going to be allies of Xehanorts? Like, the way that the Twitter is painting them is that they're, you know, friends of Ericus and Xehanort. They have, you know, good friends with each other, but you have to keep in mind that basically anyone in the series can be Lushu in disguise now. And it's possible that one of these characters already is. I don't know, like, I can see the series taking like a kind of like a mystery, we don't know if we can trust everyone kind of vibe from now on until we know like what Lushu's been up to. It's going to be really interesting. I've been working on a video basically trying to cover the entire complicated history of Xehanort from all the way as a small little baby boy up to the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3 basically, and trying to cover in a chronological order what this guy's life was like. And obviously Dark Road is a huge part of that, because basically we start off with, as far as we know, Xehanort as a young child arrived on Scala from Destiny Islands, and then he left and basically was already headed down the path to basically being like, okay, I'm going to go and forge the Keyblade, with, you know, a couple of details along the way. But this part of his life is clearly very, very important, which is why they're making a game about it. So I'm honestly excited, you know. I mean, people aren't a huge fan of the mobile games, which is totally fair enough. But my philosophy has always been that Kingdom Hearts really has me in the palm of their hand, so I'll always give their new games a try. And yeah, but if you guys don't want to do that, I will 100% be covering the story right here on the channel, just like I do with Union Cross and the rest of the series, so don't worry about that if you don't want to give it a try yourself. It's worth, I don't know. The games obviously do a very good job of trying to suck you into the whole like economy and everything, but if you don't want to be involved in that, it is a fun little story to just get engaged in and spend some time with if you don't want to, as long as you're careful with like not trying to get too involved in the whole manipulative side of, oh, you know, you're not doing as well as your friends, maybe you should spend some money to catch up. Like, if you can ignore all that, there is a little bit of fun to be had here. But speaking of channels, I've been working on this Kingdom Hearts video. I literally just, at the exact same time this tweet came out, I just finished my exams for the semester, so I'm free to start making content again. And speaking of content I've made a video on a brand new channel talking about a much broader range of games than just Kingdom Hearts. And because obviously I love Kingdom Hearts, but I figure people are here predominantly for just Kingdom Hearts. So, my first video is actually on The Last of Us. So, what I've done for Union Cross, basically taken all the events in chronological order, put them into one video. I've done that with The Last of Us, so it's a nice sort of recap video to watch before you play the part 2, if you are interested in doing that. And if you do want to support me in any way at all, I would love it if you guys would check that channel out, hit subscribe, all that good stuff. I've never tried to promote myself before, but that channel I really want to promote because it took a lot of work to make that first video. But yeah, there'll be new content on this channel, new content on that channel, so don't worry about that. I've got a Xehanort video in the works, like I just said, and potentially like a timeline video. We really went like a deep dive on this reveal on a stream we just did then, so there's probably like about an hour, maybe an hour and a half of stream, if not longer, for you guys to check out if you want to get a real deep dive in my like initial impressions as they were coming out. But yeah, I'll leave you with that, guys. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm pretty keen for the future of the series, of course. There are so many different threads that it's in right now, like Sora's off in places, Kari's been asleep, Yazora's doing his whole thing, Terravan and Arca are in the dark. There's a whole mess going on right now, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any more uncomplicated anytime soon. So, yeah, I hope you stay with me, guys, as we try and figure this bizarre mess out. But, alright, guys, thanks so much. I'll see you soon. All the best. Bye.